Hey there guys, we're going to be taking Olivera in this video for some damage testing. It's a new unit. People have been questioning whether their damage is good or not. So instead of like relying on spreadsheets and theory craft, we're going to go for straight up real world testing and see what kind of damage they do in comparison to our good units or our best units on global, which is like Sephiroth basically. So this is going to be a completely fair comparison. We have geared both of these units in basically best in slot. We have given them the exact same killer percentage, and we are going to be giving them the exact same buffing and in peril. So this is a totally fair comparison. We're going to see what the comparison is for Olivera versus Sephiroth. We're going to be using the hard mode Ashura for the damage test. This is going to be... We're just damage testing. We're not actually doing a whole clear. We're doing a single burst turn, looking at the damage, and then starting over and doing it again. So this is the team we're going to be using for testing. Behemoth is just going to cover so we can survive for a few turns, not really important to the test. Gilgamesh is just going to break and seal for the first few turns, not really important for the test. Aerith is going to be doing our stat buffing and LB buffing. It is true that Olivera doesn't get benefit from stat buffs, but that is just a part of the kit. That is part of their DPS, so that that is just the way it works. So it is still fair to use buffs because that's how fights work in the game. So she's going to be our buffer for both units. Biggs and Wedge are just going to tag chain her. They're going to multi-element chain, and they're going to build the chain modifier to maximum before we get either unit in for damage. That way both units are tested at the maximum 6x chain cap. Yes, so we can see how I was thinking like maybe I just shouldn't chain at all, but I forgot Olivera is a tag chainer, so they're going to be chaining. So we got to chain for Seth to make it a fair comparison. So we're gonna put them both at the max chain cap for this test, and there you go. And then Sephiroth, I'm in the shift form. We're going to test him with his max stack damage. You'll see how we do it in a moment. So again, we're gearing them, as far as I can tell, best in slot versus demon and human. We're going with a dual race that both units are decent for. Olivera's ST Martinol gives demon killer. Sephiroth has human killer. So Sephiroth has natural human. Olivera has natural demon. So that it's a relatively fair comparison because they both have innate killers versus the same boss. So here is the build we're using on Sephiroth. He has a combined total of 250 demon and human. I'm sorry, for a combined total of 300% killer. And then Olivera, we're going with the same build. So Robot DA built me a nice Olivera. EX3, maxed door potted MP, max level LB, best in slot build, his own vision card, chain cap, killers. So looking at the killers, we've got maxed LB, 225 demon, and 275 human. Added together, that's 500% killer, exact same as Sephiroth, completely fair comparison. Sephiroth does his own katana in peril. We're going to do the instrument in peril from Olivera, and for the amplify, we're going to use Olivera's AoE 30% dark amp. We're not going to use Sephiroth's 50%. We're going to keep it completely exactly the same, because Olivera in Clash of Wills, actually, now that I think about it, this is a fair comparison. So for burst damage, Sephiroth would be using his own dark amplify for all content that you use him for, like burst content. So yeah, we are going to use Sephiroth's dark amp. So in Clash of Wills, Olivera has a 50% self dark amp. Outside of it, he only has 30%. Well, this is a test for dark visions and all, so we're going to use their proper amplifies. That is included in the kit. Anyway, here's the best in slot build. It was pointed out that Minister's Coat is actually slightly less MP than Rivera's upgraded STMR. So the MP could be a tiny speck higher. Overall, it's pretty similar, and most players won't have double floating hearts anyway. But I wanted to get the best possible, and then just to show that the item world is basically best in slot item world as well. All MP for the violin. Okay. Let's get in here and do some damage testing. And this might be a little bit slowish because the friend cooldown, I don't want them to go on cooldown, so we got to like repeat this a few times, but it should be fine. Okay, so Behemoth is just going to do this to, let's see, King's Barrier, and that, oh yeah, and Almighty Guard. Gilgamesh is just going to, let's see, break, 3 times, basically, to eat the counterattacks. We're going to buff with Aerith. Let's see, Biggs and Wedge guard. Sephiroth stack on turn 1. We'll just guard you. Alright. Yeah, we didn't imperil or anything yet. Alright. So let's go see what kind of damage we deal in just a moment. We gotta go to turn 3. And we're gonna do 3 different tests for the fair comparison. Alright. Let's see. So we're going to Inspiring Finale for the Imperil and the Dark Amp and all that. Do this. Guard, guard, guard. Oh, we gotta reload you. Guard, guard, guard. Okay, so we're gonna test Sephiroth's damage first. Alright. So let's see what kind of damage Sephiroth deals in 1 hit. Should have taken off Mechanical Heart. We don't really need that. Okay, so Sephiroth in 1 hit is going to deal... Didn't quite see, so we're going to guard everyone. And this is why I wanted to do it. Alright, damage per turn, 2.457 billion. Alright, 2.457 billion. Let me write this down. 2.457 billion. Okay, let's go in here again, and now we're going to test Olivera. Robot DA. Same basic test. No, for Olivera, we can actually do it on turn 2. We actually don't need to go so deep. Alright, let's see here. You're not contributing this time. You're not contributing this time. Gilgamesh, 1, 2, 3. Let's give a big buff. Let's do the Instrument, Imperil, and Amplify and all. Behemoth will just cover Kings and Mighty. And guard you. Okay, and we're going to test out Olivera's damage in just a sec. Alright, let's see here. Yep, all debuffed. Okay. Let's give it a go. So we're going to build the chain with Biggs and Wedge. Again, they're going to build the chain to max modifier. Then we're going to jump in with the tag chaining Olivera LB. So let's go. Build the chain. Alright, Olivera can tag off that chain. And how much damage are they going to deal in total? It's a nice long chain. Good for support chaining. And let's see what kind of damage they dealt. Alright, they dealt 1.129 billion. Alright, 1.129 billion. Okay. Let me check real quick. I should have done this in advance to make sure that Ashura has similar. I should have done this in advance. Let's make sure Ashura has similar attack or defense and spirit buffs. Blaze of Affinity, hard mode, advanced. Yes, exactly same defense and spirit. So this is a fair comparison. That was a pretty huge swing. It was less than half of Sephiroth, but it could have been variance. Let's give it a go again. And we're gonna do similar testing. We want to see what kind of damage they can deal. Let's see. So Behemoth, oh my god, I'm the worst at clicking. All right, cover King's Barrier, Gilgamesh, break the boss, Aerith, tag chain, guard you. Stack you, wait until this is finished. Alright, guard you. Let's Inspiring Finale after Sephiroth deals damage, because I don't want to set up the brakes and all until we're ready. Alright. Alright. Break you, guard you, do that with you, guard you. And I guess Behemoth can cover. No need for armor and provoke. Where's provoke? So that he doesn't drop dead on the threshold. We did Inspiring Finale already, so we can just guard you. Okay, and we're going to burst again with Sephiroth, and we're going to see how his damage compares. Yeah, the first turn, to be fair, it could have been high variance. We don't know. Let's find out. Alright, let's go ahead and cap Sephiroth and get a damage comparison. Alright, build the chain and cap. I couldn't really tell because of all the numbers, so we're just going to guard and see what kind of damage Sephiroth dealt. He did 2.272. Alright, 2.272 billion. Let's get okay. So the first roll was a little bit high variance. Let's go with another test for Olivera. Draining all my energy. That's fine. Okay, let's give it a go. So again, we can burst Olivera on turn 2. We're getting all the buffs from Aerith. We're getting etc. We're maxing the chain mod in advance. Alright, Behemoth. Let's cover. Kings and Almighty. Guard. Break. Inspiring Finale. Let's buff you. Inspiring Finale. You're not contributing this turn. This clear. Alright. I am doing Inspiring Finale correctly, right? I just want to make sure I'm giving Olivera the absolute fairest of all comparisons. Inspiring Finale. Yep, Inspiring Finale is the instrument in peril and all. Lowers damage from instruments. Dark Imperiled, broken. We're using all the same buffs on both clears. Okay. Let's give it a go on Olivera again. So we're going to build that chain first with Biggs and Wedge to get the max modifier, so both units are at the absolute 6x cap. So the chain is built. Jump into that chain, and let's see Olivera's damage. Nice. It is not. To be fair, it is really cool that Olivera is a tag chainer. I like that a lot, but it's just that damage is just not there. 1.162 billion. All right, let's see. 1.162B. Alright, we're going to go one more round. I know this is a little repetitive and tedious, but I want to do a full 3 turns to remove like all that, like, oh, it was just variance. Now we're doing three times. And the variance on Olivera doesn't exist. Mages don't get variance. So the only real variance is Sephiroth. I'm not sure if he's been rolling high or if he's been rolling low. So we're going to just do three tests to find that out. Guard you. Let's stack Sephiroth first. Wait for Gilgamesh to eat all the counters. Alright, stack Sephiroth. Wait for this to finish. Then we'll do this and this. Wait. I don't want to OTK the boss. And then guard Biggs and Wedge. Alright. So the boss, we've been amplified and all that. Dark Imperiled. Boss is broken. Alright. And we need to do Sephiroth's Amplify. Because again, in Dark Visions and Trials and all, you can use Sephiroth's Amplify for your big burst turns. And all we're comparing is total burst damage. Guard you. Guard, repeat you. Behemoth, so we don't just die on this this threshold. We'll just do this. I actually forgot to use his mitigation. Doesn't really matter if he dies. Who cares? All we really care about is seeing the damage. Whose turn is this to burst? Sephiroth's turn. All right, so let's go ahead and burst Sephiroth again and give a comparison of how his damage is looking versus Olivera. That I really, really hope Global gives some buffs to, because oof, big oof. Alright. Let's build the chain, let's cap the chain, and it's so hard to see the number here. It looked like a 2.4, but I couldn't really tell. Let's go ahead and get a look at the number. All right, 2.408. So 2.408 billion. Okay, and let's give one more shot on Olivera. But okay, so as we see, 2.457, 2.272, and then 2.408. We're getting relatively similar variants with Sephiroth each time. We got a 1.129 and a 1.162 billion on Olivera. But let's go ahead and see what the last attempt on Olivera looks like. Doing all the same stuff. You two are not helping this clear. We can LBU. We can Inspiring Finale. Okay, and we're going to burst next turn. I guess there is something to be said that Olivera is a little bit easier to set up for the burst because you don't really got to do anything but the Inspiring Finale. But okay, let's see how our damage looks against the third time. This has been equal across the board for everything. These tests. All right, so we're going to build the chain. Wait for the chain to be max modifier. It's an 8 element chain, so max modifier. And Olivera, LB. What is our total damage done? Let's go ahead and give it a look. And we did 1.150, so 1.150 billion. Okay, so there is the comparison. So again, this was a absolutely fair comparison. This is both units using pretty much best in slot. They had exactly identical killers. They had exactly identical buffs in battle. Olivera used his best Dark Amplify, and Sephiroth used his best Dark Amplify. Now, to be fair, Olivera's Dark Imperil is slightly higher than Sephiroth's, but that's a buff that affects the entire party. So on a Dark Visions team, you're using like the best Imperil you've got across the entire party. So that's kind of like a team buff where that's for the whole party. So final results: 2.147 versus 1.129 on the first test. Sephiroth did like 2.2 times more damage, so more than double damage. Second test, 2.272 versus 1.162. Again, Sephiroth did double damage. Final test, 2.4 versus 1.1, almost double and a half. So every single test, Sephiroth is dealing more than double the damage of Olivera. So yeah, a brand new unit, in my opinion, should not be that far behind the meta. This was against a boss that had identical spirit and defense. We used identical debuffs on the boss, and both units were at the absolute 6 times chain cap because we chained with an 8 element tag chainer, which means the chain is maxed modifier by the second hit. So there it is. Hopefully Gumi will adjust this unit before the week is over. Maybe a hot fix on Monday or something. I'm hoping this video gets to their attention and they can like, oh, we didn't realize that the MP scaling just doesn't deal that good of a damage. Let us fix this, please, and make this new global exclusive worth the pull. But at least as far as the MP scaling goes on the shift form, it is just really, really far behind in damage, and we need global to fix this. So please fix this. I'm hoping Gumi. I really like the unit's design. I want to pull for him, but unless you fix that damage, I just can't justify it. So okay, see you guys next time.